Podcast excellence since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
Where has professional wrestling gone to? This year has been shit.
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the King of Podcasts radio network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
47 days, so Monday Night Raw goes to Netflix for WWE. This is the Wrestling is Real podcast. Thanks for listening in. KingofPodcasts.com. Of course, I am KOP. And it's been a roller coaster this year, but the problem is the roller coaster doesn't go back up. This has been a bad year for wrestling. And don't go after me for saying that. I understand there is an echo chamber of fans that are glib. They are not glib. They are full of glee. And they think nothing is wrong with what WWE is giving us right now. Okay? You are all now feeling like it's so wonderful. The Bloodline, we're getting them back together for Survivor Series. They're putting the 5-on-5 together. And that's going to be the greatest War Games, whatever. Okay. That build up. Meanwhile, we have a whole lot of other mid. Hey, look. So you're happy with this storyline right now. This half-warmed return of the OG Bloodline, NWO Wolfpack, to go up against the NWO Black and White, which is the Bloodline now, the bastard Bloodline, and the setup. I already explained myself last week. I'm not going to go through that again. And then, everything else they're doing. And the only thing that the fans here want to go ahead and bitch and moan and complain about is troll Tony Khan. Go after him because they also in AEW have their own issues. Wrestlers that have not come back, and who knows if they're going to come back. We know we see it, okay? With Miro, with Ricky Starks, right? With Tony Storm now retiring and leaving professional wrestling for good. To Eddie Kingston, who has not been around in a while. To Kenny Omega, right? I've seen the stories. I've been following along. I see what everybody's talking about. The crowds, yes. Collision, it's not a good show. It's the B show, but the problem is you can't possibly take the old format of Nitro and Thunder. You can't do it. You just can't do a show that is the secondary show, the B show for wrestling. Wrestling cannot have that. Wrestling has to have A shows across the board. But they are spread out amongst 3 shows, amongst 3 programs where they're trying to get Ring of Honor. And I believe that Tony Khan is fatigued right now. 5 years of booking for this program and also trying to go ahead and make good for all these wrestlers he has under contract. I just feel like he's way too controlling of the pen. He does not delegate at all. And the delegation he might have had before might have been with Cody, might have been with the Young Bucks, might have been with Kenny Omega. Right now, all those folks, they're not there. Who's running this? Who's helping him? We never hear about the creative team and who's going on back there. We know that Tony Khan's matchmaker. But at this point in the run of AEW, he has to have somebody else, some other people around him to help work on these feuds, which are fine, but the same thing goes. They're fresh feuds in some cases, right? Bobby Lashley and Shane Strickland. We're getting some feuds that are rehashed again. John Moxley and Orange Cassidy. We're seeing that they're doing some things here and building up matches, but the build up to them, MJF, you're doing this whole feud with him and the Undisputed Kingdom because of the fact he's out working. He's doing movies. He's not available until the pay-per-view. So this kind of remote type of booking for him, when MJF is not in the ring, it's not helping. And the truth is, we're not paying attention to Collision. Collision is just on a bad night, and I wish they would move that to another time. Saturday nights for the B show is just horrible. But they don't have any other place to put it. I don't know what you do. I mean, it's got to be there. I guess there's no other choice. I almost wish they didn't have that show. And they just stuck with something else. I don't know. But they're up against so much competition on Saturday nights. The live sports, look, it's not just live sports on Collision that hurts the ratings. Look at what happened with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson on Friday night. Because that took a big chunk out of SmackDown. Now, SmackDown was taped, right? I don't even remember. I know they've been taping a couple of shows because they've been getting holiday time off or something like that. I don't know. I know Raw and SmackDown have been taped. And Raw comes out 1.5 million viewers. Took a drop. It was taped. And they're going against, what, Monday Night Football. NXT, what, 650,000? So that's about where they were at USA anyway. And they were up against NBA basketball, the Celtics and Cavaliers, in a pretty big game. Undefeated Celtics and the first place Celtics, NBA world champions, against the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers, of which that game, the Celtics were able to snap the 16-game winning streak of the Cavaliers. So there was a bit of a context there to that. The ratings compared to the crowd size, look, I could give a shit about the crowd. Remember, they're making money off the production, just like WWE is, right? And what the crowds are getting in WWE right now, you're just getting clapping seals. You're getting people that it's audience participation. Okay? It's Rocky Horror Picture Show. Do you know what that is? You ever heard of that? Because people would go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Okay? It was a Halloween-based movie, right? A scary movie. A musical. And then this musical, you'd have all these different performances and all this audience participation. The wedding, people throwing rice in the crowd. You'd have, time warp again and all this kind of stuff. That is what WWE has become. You're watching the same people together doing basically the same act. It's like a Broadway show. There's no real deviation from it. Right? New Day still facing Alpha Academy. A little change now. Final Testament's now pairing with Wyatt Six. So that's it. It is like a Broadway show. You're just getting a performance. But there's no real progression in storyline at all. And it isn't any storyline really much to be had anyway. It's very thin and watered down as well. Both of these brands are sucking wind right now. It's pathetic. But for some reason, the fandom out here, this echo chamber of the vocal minority, okay, that's continued to be a lower fan base than before. Because guess what? SmackDown, you have the whole thing with the Bloodline, setting that up for Survivor Series. Oh, let's get the wise man on the phone, right? All that? Trying to get that fifth man? And some of your audience, some of the fandom that will not say anything, they wanted to go watch Jake Paul and Mike Tyson go 8 rounds doing nothing. So I was in a movie theater watching The Rock's new movie, the Christmas movie, Red One. Don't watch it. It's shit. Okay, yeah, I might be in a cynical mood, but yeah, it was shit. Not good. Not good. Now, people think, oh, The Rock's going to come back for Survivor Series. No, he needs to go ahead and do damage control of this movie that only made $30 million and has a $250 million budget. I don't expect The Rock to come back right now. He needs this particular movie franchise to take off the ground. The plan was they wanted to make it like another Marvel kind of thing, okay? The whole setup of the whole agency and all this, put it together. The plan was they want to do sequels of this. And this movie right now is treading water. It's not going to make it. It should have been on Netflix. At least if it was pre-recorded and loaded up, Netflix would probably run it. And it probably would run smooth. Oh, but let anything live stream come on. Look at what happened. Netflix, everybody said they had problems. Not me. I don't have Netflix. I found my way around it. I was just fine. And I watched the fight inside the movie theater while this was going on. And you know what I saw? Mike Tyson at 58 years old. It's too late to go and have him out there to be that productive. He might look good at sparring in practice. He looked really good against Roy Jones in 2020, but that's 4 years ago. Mike Tyson's not the same now. Okay? The only thing I was kind of shocked by, besides his fighting, was the assless chaps in the locker room. Okay? Other than that, that's it. Oh, but Mauro Ranallo is going to be on the commentary. Okay. I know some of the fans out there will go ahead and just go all at it for that, right? Oh, yeah, of course. And they did. But everybody right now, I can tell you that the fandom right now is just getting very upset, and they are just, they have to push back on everything that's going on. So, AEW fans, yeah, you have nothing to cheer about right now. WWE fans, you are delusional right now. Because if you think what you're getting right now is great, listen, you feel good about, the Netflix debut is going to be in Anaheim and Intuit Dome, and you're going to go and watch Netflix do the live show. Oh, okay, we might get Cena, might get Rock, might get some other people there, right? And some people are going to be paying up to $5,000 for tickets for front row. What are they going to possibly give you? They're not going to give you a hand job. They're going to give you around the world sex. Like, what do you get for $5,000 to go out there and, you can, flash your light for the Wyatt Six. You can go yeet, yeet, yeet. You can go ahead and go whoa for Seth Rollins. You can go whoa for Cody Rhodes. This is the stuff that you're all cheering about. It's this. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, you can say it's anything else, but it is. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Go look it up. Please Google it. Find out what I'm talking about. It's just performance. It's the same thing over and over every week. You're not getting anything special out of this. Nada. But people want to go after. And listen, we know that when it comes to AEW and everybody wants to go ahead and get upset, Tony Khan, unfortunately, he can't help himself. But he's going to go and do the press tour right now to go along and get people interested and excited to go and watch AEW coming back to full gear, right? And they're going to come back to Wintrust Arena in Chicago next week for Thanksgiving weekend, their annual Thanksgiving tradition. And they go to Chicago a lot. And now they're going to come back and they're going to have their event. And Tony Khan was speaking. This was not on the air, I don't think. This was actually like a side interview, it looks like. But it was on WGN's, it was a video cast I saw. He did an interview with Iridian Fierro as the executive producer. I don't even know what show she's with because I don't know if this was like a live broadcast or not. I don't know if it was just that or not, but she did this interview. Maybe it was like taped for later, I guess it is, and it's going to be rebroadcast. I'm not sure if it was live or not. But Iridian Fierro at WGN 720 AM Chicago spoke with Tony Khan, and he was asked by Iridian about the criticism of the company right now and, how he handles it publicly.
On the topic of criticism, I want to know how you handle criticism online, whether that be someone telling you like, oh, you should have booked this or you should have done that. And I think it's easy for people on social media because everyone is so accessible. They can just at someone or maybe make a hashtag. How do you deal with criticism? Because I know it's not all constructive criticism online.
Well, it depends on what it is. I think a lot of it is constructive. And, sometimes fans have a good perspective. And a lot of times it's really worth listening to the feedback. Sometimes if it's disingenuous, there's nothing you can do. There's just not, like you said, not constructive. But I do think it's always worth hearing the fans out and hearing viewpoints. Sometimes it's fans of a different promotion that don't really have anything positive to say no matter what you do, and that's fine. We sold 81,035 tickets at Wembley Stadium, and there were people trying to tear it down. People saying, oh, they only got 73,000. Like, as if that's bad. That's more people than were at the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight, and people were trying to say that like it was a bad number for AEW. It's insane sometimes.
I mean, I understand. He wants to go and try to give something to kind of defend that part. And talking about the fans that are out there, which is the fandom, okay? He refers to the fact that there are some disingenuous fans out there. My fellow podcast wrestling brethren, yes, you do that. You are disingenuous. Then there's the fans out here that will follow along like sheep, going along with what everybody else says, okay? Because it's almost like a playground atmosphere. It's like recess. If you don't get along with the rest of the group, then you're outcast. I don't care if I get outcast. But doing this show, it's going to be 13 years coming, or no, 12 years coming up right now, in 2 weeks. I don't mind it, man. Or no, 3 weeks, actually. It's December 18th. But either which way, all this here, that's being brought up in the fact that everybody's all caught up in a froth over what Tony Khan says because he keeps responding back. But at least the one thing he should be doing is do not pay attention to the fans. And for WWE, I'll tell you what, you should also be doing the same thing. Listen, you might not have liked Vince McMahon. You might have had animosity if you're working there and you had Vince McMahon around. Fine. But the one thing that he was doing was, it was his show. It was his product. He could go ahead and at least take risks and have something happen. Okay? One of the best analogies I heard this week, and I forget where I saw it from. No, it was on TikTok, but I got to go look it up. Noel Gallagher. He gives this point about music and how the taste in music right now, people are just kind of resonating with music that they want to push out themselves. Like they're not allowing themselves to be subjected to something new. It's like they have to be in control of what they're watching. They have to be in control of what they get to see. They have to control what the stories are in order for them to be happy. It's so much autonomy. And by the way, the wrestling fans, they're not the smartest people booking. Okay? You might think, listen, you might want to do Monday Night Quarterbacking. Okay? You might want to do fantasy booking. That's fine. But allowing fantasy booking to go into real life is a mistake. And nobody's talking about it right now because it's so blinded right now by everybody else. Oh, because look at the crowds. They're still sold out. Oh, look, we got all this money coming in from USA and Netflix. Oh, we don't care. Right. Yeah. Blank check. Hey, rubber stamp. It doesn't matter what they do right now. They could do whatever they want. They could throw shit on the wall and they'll still get paid. They're under contract. It doesn't matter to them. I'm going to say it like this. For those fans out there, you don't like me saying this. Listen, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. WWE is insulting your intelligence. This booking is mid. They are insulting your intelligence. They are booking, this is what Triple H wants to do, the lowest common denominator, right? Lowest common denominator, lowest hanging fruit. The easiest way to book. And who really benefits from that? This dwindling smaller audience, which, by the way, we already saw. An easy 400,000 viewers didn't have a problem switching over to Netflix to watch it. Okay, so we know some people have Netflix. Are they going to watch WWE right now? And that's the same crowd that'll watch Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? I don't know. Make it make sense. But I think the fact that Tony Khan, for him, in his own sake, reserve any commentary that you have. You know what? Do not address these fans. The ones you call disingenuous, shut them out. They can say whatever the hell they want. You do not need to be offended by them. You have too much to worry about right now under your own house because there's obviously some issues down there. And now it's a little too surmountable to even just say, oh, well, this is kind of just getting past. No, because the product is starting to hurt a lot now. Okay. I thought everything was already pretty cool up until All In. And then after Wembley, we took a drop. We took a drop because, there was a couple of things you had to do, right? You had to go and take care of Forbidden Door. You had to go and, get some of these other relations going out there where, and these talent exchanges that you have folks that are going to CMLL or they're going to AAA or they're going to New Japan. And some of those stars are going out in their exchanges and have to be done because that's what you set up. And then some of the other stars that you have, we're not seeing back in a while. And some of the ones that have come back apparently are cancerous, right? I mean, because I feel like some of the changes have been done, like going to Ring of Honor, you see some stars that go over there, like a Sammy Guevara. And I'm like, I'm not sure what the whole story is because if you had him on TV for so much, something happened back there. There's also this whole talk about the CM Punk effect, about who was allegiant and loyal to CM Punk before he left, All In last year. And there's obviously some animosity of those because CM Punk, who was a cancer, should have never been brought in the company. In retrospect, I mean, I get it. He moved the needle. He did bring some ratings. He did sell out some shows. But man, was it worth it? Look, CM Punk, how often have we seen him out there now? What has he done in WWE, right? The Drew McIntyre feud was 10 months off and on. Both of them were kind of hurt. CM Punk, most part, was hurt. And then he has a couple of matches going into the fall that sucked. Okay, bull rope match, Hell in a Cell. They were okay, but like I wasn't necessarily impressed by them. I was like, okay, we didn't need the feud to go on as long as it did. And the stupid bracelet, right? And then he goes off. Oh, so now he takes time off. When's he coming back? He's been out for a while now. What are we doing here? You took some folks that were off TV and you have them on TV all the time. And then you're having to replace them with what? The Candice LeRae's of the world. And then you're bringing on some NXT stars. You got to bring in Lash Legends, Jakara Jackson, and pair them up over after, Jay Cargill and Bianca Belair, which, by the way, they should be single stars going after titles. You create the U.S. women's title, which is like, I don't even understand why you're doing mid-card title for that. The decisions that are being made right now, I'm at the point where it is such a task, such an undertaking to watch Raw or SmackDown now. I can't. It's impossible. I can't just watch. Okay, if I was in the crowd, maybe I'd enjoy the matches and get in the audience participation. But for TV, it sucks. And I think the only reason that some of the fans out here, my fellow podcast wrestling brethren, is because you're such super fans. You go to the arena when they come into your town, okay? You'll spend the money. And then you imagine yourself in the arena with the rest of them. And some of the Twitch streamers and those that live stream. You get along and you feel like you're part of the crowd. And you can just eat it up. You can just absorb and just take it all in. And you feel like that's actually helping. No, it's not. Because for fans like me that have been watching on television forever, I don't feel any kind of emotion, any kind of emotional investment on anything right now. A lot of rehashing, a lot of reworking. What are we doing here? It's just not any good. And don't get me wrong, we'll have some decent matches coming up for both Full Gear coming up this weekend, Survivor Series next weekend. Sure. We got that coming up. I mean, for AEW, yeah, they'll sell out their major shows because, they're bigger shows. But all these TV shows, yeah, they're not doing it. And especially if you're trying to do something for Collision, to just have a couple of featured matches to sandwich in the rest of, what is AEW Dark? No, that doesn't work. I think when they had that whole idea of going to the esports arena in Arlington, Texas, those kind of arenas or doing those kind of shows and taping Collision like that sounds like a better idea. It really does. They don't need to do Collision in the big stadiums. They don't need to do the big arenas. They're doing too many right now as it is by having Collision out there. Collision should not be on the road. They should do it like Impact or NWA or whatever and tape. If you got to do it, because I don't think they're going to make any difference on if their show's live or not, doing that show. A live Dynamite, yeah, I think it does make sense because we're at least, the ratings are still, they haven't dropped below this baseline right now at 600,000. It's pretty much where it's at. So that's something. So before we go ahead and move along and I give my argument as to why the WWE fans are projecting right now, they don't realize they're doing it. They're obviously, they don't feel any frustration. They're kind of just like in this little phantom zone, feeling like everything is just all happy and good. It's going to get boring after a while. This whole house show, Rocky Horror Picture Show atmosphere is going to get dead. Okay? The storylines, I think what's happening also is that while there are probably some other fans that are kind of jumping off the ship and are just not interested right now, and are not watching the television, that's why the ratings continue to erode. Or might be watching on social media if there's anything to catch up on. Like even myself right now, I mean, I'm doing it, But now you're at the point where if the pay-per-views start to suffer, when you expect that TV audience to switch from USA on Monday nights, where they have been on USA Network, except for a couple of years on Spike, and to be programmed there for all these years to move over to streaming, that's a big ask. And remember, the TV audience, they're not the ones that are paying the big bucks like the fans that are going to these shows just to be able to go and do a couple of chants and a couple of yeets, okay? That's a different story. So, for the TV audience, they're going to start paying now. And how many of them are actually going to go ahead and make that switch over to Netflix? Okay, 47 days. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Quickly, let's go into full gear. What they have scheduled for this weekend. Again, not an issue about the pay-per-view and what they're going to have on the show, right? In terms of the matches they're going to have, I got no problem with that, okay? No problem with that at all. Okay, off the bat, Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, AEW World Title. I will take Jon Moxley to win. I hate the Death Riders. I gave it time. I don't like the Death Rider storyline because the antagonist, the people they're going after, I mean, it's just not important. I mean, I get the mission of the Death Riders. I get Moxley wanting to go and just change in this ragtag group, but it's really just Blackpool coupled with a couple of other people. So whatever else it was supposed to be, maybe there was supposed to be something else, but it's not. I don't know. But I'm not getting much out of this. Okay? It's just kind of there. Moxley and Cassidy, Moxley will win. He'll retain the world title. I don't think we're going to see Orange Cassidy become champion. I don't see it. Maybe, but I don't think so. Jack Perry, Daniel Garcia, AWTNT title. I guess that's all been on Collision because I haven't paid much attention to seeing, I haven't really, don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily, I'm not glued to Dynamite at all times, right? I have it on, but I'm not flipping back over and just peering my eyes into what's going on. It's just I haven't been doing it. So I think Jack Perry will win that. Not much of a build for me to really care. Mercedes Moné against Chris Statlander. They had the whole deal with Camille, and of course now she's got a sling, and she had to go and deal with Statlander and Hikaru Shida. I was like, all right. Moné, it's the obvious, okay, we're going to see Camille turn. Fine. She's going to turn face. Maybe that happens this week. I don't know. Tag team titles, Private Party, Outrunners, which that has been the one, group that has actually been really getting some viral effect right here. The Outrunners, this throwback to the 80s with this group, and people are really into it. Kings of the Black Throne and the Acclaimed. And, it's you have a number of tag teams we've seen out here for much. Give me the Outrunners winning. And, yeah, no FTR in this, which is kind of surprising for a tag team title. And the Young Bucks, because they're not here right now. So MJF versus Roderick Strong. MJF will win. And I haven't cared about this either. The matches, the build up to it, no. Also doesn't matter to me either. Just not there for me. I just don't care. Jay White and Hangman Page have had some heat on it, but really not enough to really make me go through much of it. I mean, we'd have to go back and say that where it was Hangman and Swerve Strickland and Jay White, there was the whole deal of kind of we're coming back to this. But it's almost like with the MJF Adam Cole thing. It's we need to pay off some feuds. We need a continuity for the sake of continuity. And that's the problem, is that I think trying to go and create continuity of some of these storylines and some of these feuds that he had on the back burner to come back to, they just haven't been built right. There's not heat behind them. Not much. Swerve Strickland, Bobby Lashley, yeah, there's some heat to it. But again, you're trying to go up and bring the Bobby Lashley storyline here with Swerve Strickland after the whole deal with Adam Page and Swerve Strickland and that whole deal they had in their last match together anyway. That's pretty tough. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher has had a lot of time. No belt on this, but I mean, it'll be a very good match. And, I think that's been the one that might be the best booked match of the whole card coming up. If I had to go and pick who's going to be out there and winning, the other matches, I'll say Mercedes Moné will retain. Give me the Outrunners for the tag team titles. Give me a JF for Roderick Strong. Give me Jay White over Hangman Page. Give me Bobby Lashley over Swerve Strickland. They're not going to make Bobby lose yet. Give me Will Ospreay over Kyle Fletcher. And there will be a Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa Champagne Championship celebration. I don't know if somebody's going to come out for that. We know it's not Tony Storm. So who else will it be? Because something's going to happen where they have that title out there, and something's going to be going on with that. The women's world title. I don't know what it will be. And that's it. It's not a pay-per-view that I'm over the moon about, but I'm going to watch it on Saturday night. I mean, I got that. So forget about Collision. Collision just takes a back seat. The college football takes a back seat to everything else. And the worst part for Collision is the fact that they're going to have NFL football and college football playoffs coming up in December. They're not going to recover from that. you will see some of the worst ratings possible for Collision. If it breaks 100,000 viewers, I'll be surprised. I don't know if it can. It might be impossible. Now, let's move on to WWE and talk about the fact that they got Survivor Series next week. War Games. And at the moment, you have the War Games matches you got for the men. It'll be OG Bloodline, and it'll be Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn. I have not gotten the fifth member yet, but we'll have to find that out if they give us that on Friday night or if it's going to be next week. We don't know. And then the Bastard Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Bronson Reed. I mean, they want to put so much in front of him like he's the next Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't believe it. I don't see it. It doesn't. He's been playing. I don't care how many times he has to throw something into somebody into a car, throw a projectile, all that. It didn't matter with Braun Strowman. It didn't matter here with Seth Rollins. It just hasn't. I'm sorry. Bronson Reed is not over from Seth Rollins. It's just not happening. And Seth Rollins, I think, he's hurting right now as a result. Sami Zayn is a wrench in the Bloodline storyline. A wrench. I'm guessing Sami Zayn will turn heel. I mean, if it's going to be anything that's going to happen, it might as well happen here. They kind of teased it already with Solo Sikoa saying that it was going to be, the fifth man was going to be Sami Zayn. So let's do it. I mean, I don't know. Something. I will say the Breaker of the Bloodline will win. The Bastard Bloodline is going to win. Watch. I know you're going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to call it that. I think so. The Women's War Games now, Rhea Ripley now comes out to join just a ragtag group. There's no real rhyme or reason. Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, and then Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. Jeez. That's what they had to pick for the fifth woman in this group? Oh, man, that's bad. I don't know. Don't like that too much. But I guess that's who they have. And I don't know. Maybe some promises made, I guess. Gunther, Damian Priest. Hate this feud, too. And Gunther will probably win. And Gunther's just been handed some shit. That Crown Jewel Championship match. His deal with Sami Zayn. Gunther, for his run as World Heavyweight Champion, has sucked. It has sucked. But that's where we're at. I mean, it's like the storylines we're getting right now, flat, watered down, and this is across the board. And trust me, after Survivor Series, in December, I will go on and talk about all these things that are going on in terms of the fact that the year of wrestling, we have seen a downfall, unlike I can remember. And we have to just kind of like pick out where it is, because we were on such a high in wrestling this year. And it's not because we come on a downswing right now. I don't think it's that at all. We could have maintained the momentum here, but there is some things. But for some reason, the fandom out here and WWE thinks that we're still, seeing great shit. No, we're not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Beware of Netflix. Beware of what's going to be happening right now with Netflix, because it's something that we all need to be aware of and be cognizant of. Because I would be nervous about it. I'd be very nervous. Case in point. Sportster puts out an article, which I don't see any other people talking about, but yes, why fans are nervous about WWE's move to Netflix. So they put this out here, and of course it's one of their, stories they always put out here to kind of like the thing, but it is enough clickbait for me to go and catch it and talk about it. So we got it here. So, and it's obvious. We're talking about this, okay, with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, the fight they had live on Netflix. This was a big experiment for Netflix, for the kind of audience they were going to get. Because remember, if they wanted to go and put this on regular pay-per-view, if it was on DAZN, this would have cost, $79, $59, something like that. But people got to watch it on Netflix. And there was a lot of things that got mired over this. Let's just go into the numbers that actually happened. BusinessStudy.in, India, they actually give us a great story that really explains all this. So check this out. So the peak audience of the boxing match was 65 million viewers. Again, it's around 11 o'clock at night. for boxing. And, people watch it, man. That's the one part I really enjoyed, is that boxing does still really well. If you get something that's still a draw, people will still watch it. So they said 60 million households worldwide watched the fight on Netflix, 65 million at its peak. 50 million households tuned in for the co-main event between Ireland's Katie Taylor and Puerto Rico's Amanda Serrano, which was also a ridiculously violent and brutal fight, but people loved it. It was better match than what you got from Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. 90,000 users reported issues during the live stream, according to Down Detector. Complaints were centered on video streaming, server connections, and login issues. The outage lasted around 6 hours in the United States, was resolved by Saturday. So yeah, this happened all during this live event. Jake Paul wins by unanimous decision. And the success of the Jake Paul Mike Tyson event, there's that Netflix has potential to influence the live sports streaming market, and they're expecting to, because they have made a big $500 million a year gamble with WWE, right? Huge. And remember, it's going to be more, because we got to have marketing. We have to also have promotion. But addressing technical issues is crucial for providing smoother experiences in future events. Impressive viewer numbers, that's a lot. Now, the other thing we got to understand is that we're not going to get that kind of audience watching wrestling on Netflix. We're not getting 65 million viewers, okay? I'm going to guess 5. And I'm being generous. I don't think it's going to be 5. I think the expectations that Netflix has right here, I'm not sure what they're going to think about it. But it's like, I'd be concerned. Now, maybe we'll get a little bit more, because we'll have some curious people that will be on Netflix and they'll say, oh, look at this is live. We'll take a look at this. Okay. And they might give it a chance. I don't know. But I'm not sure what to think about it. I would be a bit concerned myself. I would be. So now we know that TV ratings are continuing to drop every year as viewers walk away from the old way of watching TV. And now that we have Netflix coming up, there are already 283 million paid subscribers on Netflix worldwide. So it would be a big win for Raw. Because you got to ask yourself, how many of that 283 million paid subscribers will actually look at WWE? Because we don't know what that's going to look like when they get over there and they put Raw on there in the first place. If people are going to really care about watching this live program, obviously Netflix will put a big deal about it. We'll see what happens. Netflix has only had a couple things they've done live. They've had the Tom Brady roast. They had the Love is Blind reality series live special or reunion episode. A couple of things. But again, some of these things have only been so long ago. Now, the Love is Blind reality series back in April 2023, viewers were unable to connect to the live stream. It took over an hour to finally get it fixed, by which point it was no longer a live show. Same thing with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. By the way, we also have NFL games coming up on Christmas Day, leading up to WWE, right? So Netflix has a live streaming problem. You would think with this big, huge platform, they would have an idea about this. Well, Peacock doesn't have these kind of problems. We had a little bit at the very beginning, right? WWE Network might have had issues here and there, but man, that thing used to work really good. I used to love WWE Network, man. I thought it was great. No real problems on Peacock. Barely anybody talks about it. It goes smoothly. I mean, I'll watch it on my phone. Everything's fine. And then I know NFL is on Prime. No problem watching over there. Like, when I watch Prime and Peacock to watch live content, it's good. No problems. But right here, I don't know, man. Netflix, you put a lot of money in this. What's going to happen? So WWE is going to go ahead and put out a big event. Oh, so I'm sorry. It's not in Anaheim. It's going to be into a dome. So that's what the new Clippers arena. That's what it is. So John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk are all scheduled to appear. Is that enough? Sounds a little bit light. And this is not the normal cast of characters you would think about. Okay, the build of this show, Cena, Reigns, and Punk, they're all Vince guys. They're not promoting Wyatt Six. They're not promoting Final Testament. They're not promoting Gunther. They're not promoting Judgment Day, right? That's tough. You want to talk about a fickle audience if the streaming goes bad right here. This same crowd that is so praiseworthy of what WWE is doing right now as we speak. Like if you look at what makes me cringe on X right now when I look at some of the comments that are made. And I'm like, oh man, you people are just out of your minds. Really, just too much. I try. I really do. Oh, you know what? Okay, so SB Nation, Tony Storm says he's leaving pro wrestling in a new interview, but it sounds like it is, now I'm going to look at this real quick. It looks like it is absolutely a work. Quote, I failed at everything. I lost in AEW, I lost in Japan, I lost in Mexico. So last, you'll ever hear me from me again. Enjoy Miami as your champion. You can enjoy all that. AEW is just fine. So you know what? I'm going to change my mind. Tony Storm's going to interrupt this champion celebration at Full Gear and do it towards the end of the night, please. People were trying to go ahead and fantasy book, The Rock's going to go and work War Games. No, he's not. No, he's not. So Raw on Netflix, 47 days. I would be nervous right now. I would be concerned. I don't know what they're going to be able to do. Not sure. I'm not going to say anything else about it. I think I'm going to leave it there. Like if I go on and try to get a little more upset about things, I will not be happy. So I'm just going to leave it. That's it. Can't do it. I can't. Hard enough to try to just get past 40 minutes tonight just to kind of comment about things. So I will do a post show for Full Gear. I hope I get some good stuff to talk about. So if we get Tony Storm makes a return, that'd be great. MJF will be out there. Give him some time like this. Build something. Maybe some new things that'll come up on this. Because again, Full Gear leads us into Revolution next year. We'll see what happens. That'd be nice to see. And I didn't have anything to say about NXT. Not necessarily caught up in my mind right now. Not necessarily, no. All right, we're going to leave it there. That's it. And like I said, I will do, I got to FAU's home finale for football. And then when I get back, I'll have enough time just to go and catch up on Full Gear. And I'll watch it with all of you. And I will do a post show on Saturday night right here, kingofpodcasts.com. Of course, all my social media is on the website, past episodes, all that. And make sure to go and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, and everywhere you find podcasts. Come back this Saturday for another Wrestling podcast because wrestling needs us.